for people who have not done well. But I am very proud that today we have changed the perception, we have changed the branding, we have changed the place of TVET to the extent that last year, up to 9,000 students who had been admitted to universities chose not to attend the university but to come to TVET. Because it has been proven now that TVET presents an opportunity for practical skills, for people to acquire knowledge, to acquire competencies that have significant relevance to where we want to go as a people. The strategic design of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda is to accelerate economic growth by investing in its critical pillars in a manner that creates talented, motivated, educated young people. The better plan, therefore, makes our young people the frontline actors in our quest for inclusive growth. And I want to speak to the young people of our nation. If you look at our plan, young people are front, back, center, left, right of our plan. Whether it is agriculture that we are focused on food security, we are working on how do we reduce the age of our farming community from 60 downwards, because it is the only chance we have to transform our agriculture and underwrite our food security.
Our families of the victims of the Shakahola disaster arrived early at the morgues in Malindi, ready for the process of receiving the bodies of their loved ones. 3 families scheduled to receive the bodies of 7 of their loved ones arrived first, registered, and then checked the letters they were supposed to have from the chief and the person who underwent DNA testing. The process was facilitated, and after receiving counseling, the bodies were taken inside the morgue after being released from the emergency morgue. According to Francis Wanje and William Ponda, they expressed gratitude for receiving the bodies of their families and transporting them to the hospital morgue in Star Hospital in Malindi as they prepare for the burial of their loved ones on the 5th of April. However, the family has requested assistance due to the high cost of the funeral. On his part, Silvano Pondi, who lost his elder brother, said they traveled from Vihiga County last night after receiving a call from detectives informing them that his brother's body had been identified. Pondi also requested the government and the donors to assist in transporting his brother's body to Vihiga County, stating that their financial situation is not good, and even in the fair to Malindi was a struggle. Human rights organizations such as Amnesty International and the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights have urged for a quick process and assistance to those families in burying their loved ones, calling on Kenyans who suspect their relatives might have disappeared in Shakahola to come forward for DNA testing so that they can claim their loved ones' bodies for burial.
Tuliposikia habari on Tuesday ya kwamba DNA ambaye tuliyefanya mahali hapa imepatikana ya kwamba yeye ni kati ya wale ambaye walishaaga. So tukaambiwa siku kaya leo tukaweze kukuja mahali hapa tukachukua hizo miili. So tulianza safari on Sunday asubuhi, tukafika hapa jana. So asubuhi tumeamkia mahali hapa kuja tujue huo mwili kama ni wetu. Na kufikia saa hizi tumeonyeshwa tu kwa picha jinsi vile walivyomfukunya na jinsi vile alivyo, na DNA yake imeshikamana na DNA ambaye kijana yake alifanya. So wakati tumekuja tunaulizwa mmekuja na gari, na tukawa kwamba hatukukuja na any means ya kuweza kumchukua huyo ndugu kama ni wetu. na hiyo ndio changamoto ambayo niko nazo. Iwapo tutapewa huo mwili, vile tutausafirisha mpaka Western, itakuwa ni vigumu kidogo. Naambia serikali ya kwamba huo mwili waweze kutusaidia vile tunaweza kusafirisha hadi nyumbani, manake kwa itikadi na desturi zetu za Waluya, mwili wetu wa Waluya unazikwa hata kama ni mifupa inazikwa kwa.
Now, a family from Matoi village in the Navajo constituency of Kakamega County has been left homeless and forced to stay out in the cold after 4 houses and 4 acres of sugarcane were raised in a fire. The head of the family, Johnson Maero, his wife, Wilfrida Mutondo, and their children encountered the incident of the fire that started by burning sugarcane fields and then spread to their homes, causing financial loss. Emmanuel Wangwe, the area's MP, visited the scene to offer his support and promised to work with the community and called on well-wishers to come forward to help the affected families find new shelter.
Nilikuja nikapata moto kama imeshika nyumba mbili hizi kutoka kwa kona huko njia kwa barabara. Pia ilikuja, lakini kumbe walikuwa nasima hii nyumba mbili na hii muti ilikuwa imeshika moto. Muti mrefu ndio kitu ilitoka hapa, alafu ikaanguka kwa hizi mbili tena. Ni watu walikuwa wamezingira zile miwa zingine zile. Alafu wakasema lakini hii kutoka chochote, na ile wamejaribu kutoa huko vitu lakini vingine vimeungulia wote ndani.
Niliona kitu kama moshi. Sasa kuangalia nikashtukia hiyo moshi ishalipuka kuwa moto. Kukimbia kuja kufika karibu na boma, nikaona moshi imeshika hii kiwanja yote. Sasa ukiangalia huwezi ona kitu, lakini ilikuwa isharuka huku imeingia hapa katikati. Ukiangalia vitu zilikuwa kwa nyumba kama hii ilikuwa na mabati ndani. Kuna birth certificate za watoto, sile vitu vitakabadhi za pikipiki, plus chakula na kukaramika nyumba yenyewe penye maisha saimu naona iko juu. Sasa mimi nilikuwa naomba tukisaidiwa na pesa kama around 500 inaweza tusaidia.
Karibu saa 7 kasorobo. Moto ilitokea kwa miwa, ikaanza kuchoma miwa, alafu nyumba zikashika moto. Mtoto akikimbia kuniita kutoka huko juu kufika hapa, nikapata kila kitu imeungua. Tukaanza kupika nduru, tukalia, watu wakakuja, hatukutoa kitu hata kimoja. Tulipaki tu hivyo vile tulikuwa. Hata watoto wa shule walifika hapa wakashangaa, wakashindwa watafanya nini.
Kama mtoto angekuwa ndani, ingekuwa ni hasara ya maisha. Kama mtu ambaye ni mgonjwa, joto mpate ndani, ingesaidia kwenda kwa baba. Na ni hasara. Kwa hivyo nasema pole, Mungu ni mwema kwamba hakukuwa na maisha ndani ikapotea. Mali ya dunia tutapata nyingine, lakini maisha hatungepata. Kwa hivyo nasema shetani ashindwe, lakini Mungu wa amani naye ametetea uhai wa jamii hii iko hai. Kiangazi ikiwa ukiwasha moto, washa ukiwa mwerevu, kwa sababu hasara kama hii inaweza tuumiza sisi wote.
Sasa hivi wanalala chini ya mti, wanalala jikoni. Sasa hivi hata sasa hali yao ya afya itawasumbua. Naomba kwamba serikali tafadhali angalau tusaidie wao vijana wapate nyumba, ili kwamba waendelee na masomo yao. Alafu baadaye upande wa birth certificate, sasa sabuchiva tusaidie hapo mahali ili kwamba wapate parua, wapewe certificate nyingine. Alafu baadaye hapo hivyo.
Doctors from Nakuru and Meru counties held demonstrations to pressure the government to employ healthcare workers and implement the 2017 collective bargaining agreement, also known as CBA, among other demands. Secretary General of the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union for the Southern Rift, Dr. Stephen Omondi, led the peaceful demonstrations demanding the government to fulfill the 27 CBA agreements and address issues concerning employed hospital workers, including sending medical graduates to public hospitals temporarily and paying them accordingly as per the Constitution. The same was witnessed in Kitui County.
And if those reasons that we enlightened in our strike notice of the 6th March are not solved, we are not going back to work. So basically our peaceful demonstration was to urge the government to fasten their belt to ensure that the issues on the table are solved as quick as possible to prevent the ongoing doctor strike and to prevent the suffering of the...
Ni kweli madaktari wako mgomo, na wakati daktari hayuko, ile normal service haiwezi rejelea. So pia hapa kwetu tumekuwa update kiasi, so tumejaribu kuona kwa emergency services kama ni patient, kama watu wakija na accident wanahudumiwa, kama mtoto akija amelemewa anahudumiwa, wale wa newborns kule wale inaitwa nursery ya watoto watu wanahudumiwa, mothers wakiwa kule maternity tumejaribu kuona hawasubuki kama ni emergency operation inaendelea, lakini tunauliza our teams na serikali, negotiations tunaomba zifaulu, hakuna mtu anataka mgomo uendelee.
And that is all on yesterday's recap. Now, why don't we take a small break? When we come back, we shall be reviewing the newspaper.
From Nairobi, Kenya, this is EBN TV. Good morning. We'll kick it off with the standard. Revealed faces of Shakahola's horror killings. And for the first time, Kenyans are able to see the victims of the Shakahola massacre, from young children to women and men, as somber mood engulfs families through thronging Malindi Hospital mortuary to collect bodies of their loved ones, as we had covered earlier on. Now, the faces seen there: Isaac Hinzamongala, Raphael Temba, Christopher Were, Judith Farasi, then we'll have Elna Mapa and Brenda Achieng. Now, a story that caught my attention was Stephen Mwiti. His wife and children are seen in the file picture. All the children died, while their mother, who was rescued, was charged in court. Meaning, had they not found Stephen Mwiti's wife at the time they did, that would have been a whole family going. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children. The husband dead already, the mother awaiting charges in court. Then a beautiful soul of a young Seth Hinzano Ngala is also there. Seth Hinzano Ngala, son to Isaac Hinzano Ngala, who also lost his life in the same tragedy. We also have why schools are closing a week early. Some public secondary schools will close this week, a week early, in what head teachers say is a move to ease financial burden owing to delayed capitation money. As we know that the Kenya National Union of Teachers has threatened to strike, and also the KUPPET has threatened to strike come term 2, shoulder their needs or demands not being met by the stipulated time. Now, higher rents on the way for civil servants in government units. State plans to increase rents of civil servants living in 56,802 housing units across the country by up to 100%. That is twice the amount they're paying. Okay, man's 2 lives in the red in US, rich investor in Kenya. A story by The Standard. Who will it be? Kalonzo Karua battle. And then KQ narrows 2023 loss to 22 billion Kenyan shillings. Saddening indeed. Now, teams ready to conquer the Safari Rally. We know the Safari Rally will be happening this weekend during the Easter weekend. So The Standard has also done a bit on that. At the back of The Standard, we have the World Rally, Safari Rally Kenya. They have a photo there of Ot Tanak navigated by Gervioja Martin driving Hyundai i20 cruises through Kedong Ranch in a past WRC Safari Rally event. Then we also have Finland's Thierry Neuville navigated by Majin Waidege in a Hyundai i20. Hyundai driver is a Pekka Lapi in action. Also photos there showing the same. That is what we have in The Standard. Now, defending champion Kiplimo is aiming for the top again in Belgrade. A story also done by The Standard Sports Session. And then we can move on from that, from The Standard that is, and we head on to The Star. Politicians fuel ethnic hirings in parastatal. Now, The Star is talking about report that shows bosses continue to flood entities with tribesmen and women in disregard of law. Enough is enough. Nakuru doctors demand posting of interns. As we can see on our screens, photos of medics striking and along peaceful demonstrations. There is along the road. Top photo is them sitting down, and at the bottom photo they are faking a CPR on one of their own. They marched to Governor Susan Kihika's office yesterday, demanding that every demand that has been jotted down in the CBA should be met. Now, arrest warrant for Devani after oil tycoon skips court. Yes, we know the story. The oil tycoon was expected in court, didn't show up, and as a result, it is now an arrest warrant for Yaganesh Devani, who was supposed to be in court yesterday. Number 2, DPP, the Directorate of Public Prosecution, to be fired for dropping cases in the new proposed law. The withdrawal of charges against high-profile suspects could soon land the Director of Public Prosecutions into trouble if a new proposal is enacted into law. Then finally, Relief Estate releases 23 billion school capitation. School principals can now breathe easy after the government released 23 billion for learners' capitation. A story that is being done by The Star. At the back of The Star, future secure Harambee Stars mentality elates coach Firat ahead on June World Cup qualifiers. And then top drivers gear up for the Safari Rally in Naivasha. Of course, a story featured by The Star. At the top of The Star, school games, Agorosare in tough draw at next month's national show. That is what The Star is having for us. And finally, last but not least, we have the Daily Nation. Now, the Daily Nation is talking a lot about job losses. There's 140 state farms to go. We know the story by the Daily Nation. That is, we have also featured it in the news reports that I had said earlier. Thousands of workers risk losing their jobs in a renewed push by the government to merge or wind up parastotals that are performing similar functions or draining public coffers by being perennially in the red. Now, that as a story done by the Daily Nation. Now, one president, 2 first ladies. The Senegal's Bassirou Faye. Now, Bassirou Faye has or was elected as the new Senegal's president, a 44-year-old man. 2 first ladies, because he's Muslim and Muslims do believe in polygamy. I repeat, Muslims. Half of young Kenyans would rather start businesses than seek employment. A study was done, and majority of Kenyans would rather work or have their own businesses other than being employed. And also, audit reveals grim reality of maternity hospitals in counties. Now, from insufficient equipment, shortage of trained health workers, to neonates having to share incubators as mothers share beds. A report by the Auditor General has revealed the distressing conditions of maternity facilities across the county. Now, also at the far corner, rent shocker for civil servants living in government houses. I highlighted that in the Standard. And also Ndulele shakes down, gets the iconic WRC Safari Rally going, featured in the Daily Nation. At the back of the Daily Nation, alarm as public schools fail to acquire science kits. Our Schools Equipment Production Unit CEO Joel Mabonga displays a primary school science kit at the institution's workshop in Nairobi on March 2nd. President also announces that 13 billion support for TVETs is being received from China. This and many stories, get your copy of whatever newspaper that is highlighting an issue you are most concerned with. Now, when we come back, we'll be talking relationship boundaries. This is EBN TV Morning Live. Keep it right here. My name is Consolata Chibalonza. Before we can get to look at the topic, why don't you have a look at the people we have, and I will allow them to introduce themselves. They say ladies first.
Hi, I'm Lois Wanjiru, and I'm a mother, a young mother actually, at the age of 23, having 3 kids actually. It's a bit challenging, but I'm coping with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, good morning, Chibalonza.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me here. This is Vincent, a boy child rights activist. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, Vincent. All right, so let's get into it. I'll start with you, Vince. What do you understand about relationship boundaries?
I'll say that the thing relationship boundaries sometimes is misunderstood in a way that people think I don't want you to do this, and I can't do this, and I don't understand you at all. You know, I think there's a lot more. It's a way of saying that I need you to do this, and let's just do this, you know, and continue having a healthy relationship. It's something that I expect from you. You see, creating, we could create an healthy boundary, setting standards that we all have to obey and comply to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Les, to you, what are relationship boundaries?
Relationship boundaries are. Am I allowed to speak in Okay, mi kwa maoni yangu, it's like tukiwa in a relationship, tunafaa tuweke boundaries. Ikifika kuna time ukicross your boundaries, hapo hivyo itakuwa tu mbaya. So you have to create it, ni ile tukisema this and this tufai kufanya, ni hivyo. So tunafaa kuweka tu like kama limit.
Okay,
yeah.
Ni sawa. But now let me ask, now that we're talking relationship, why is it necessary to have boundaries, given that we are in a relationship, we're working towards being one unit, especially for the love kind of relationship. We're working towards being one unit. Why should there be a boundary? See, wewe ni mimi ni wewe, can just cohabit together without boundaries.
We should have boundaries. Actually, tuseme mi spendi hii and nimekwambia spendi, so hakuna venye unaweza ni force tu tufanye hivyo na mimi sitaki. So tunafaa tuiweke like tunaiweka mahali like kama kuispecify design ya kama tuseme for example mimi kama nimezaliwa kwa familia ya pia mimi niko na right ya kuongea.
Yeah.
So unaona, sasa alafu tena umetoka kwa familia mwanaume ndiye ako na right, ndiye anafaa sema everything. So unaona hapo hivyo tutakuwa tunakosana. So tunafaa to create two boundaries. Wewe ukisema hii, mimi nasema hii. Sasa tutaiweka pamoja hizo company alafu tuone gani itawaka.
First of all, like I said, it's co-creating, an environment that both of you are comfortable with, and you obey them. So, like, relationship is, when you get into a relationship, it's not a relationship. It's not an ocean.
Yeah.
You know, where that you can do everything that you want. Like, you just wake up a day, then I want this. Relationship must have boundaries. Yeah. So we should have guidelines, things that guide us through the relationship. I like this. I don't like this. You know. Yeah. So if an individual is not comfortable, if they feel like their boundaries are being intruded into, they should just be like, no, they should just walk away.
Okay. Now that you've said that, maybe I can take this question back to you. When you're talking about boundaries, you might have a boundary. For you, it is a boundary. For the other one, that is where the line does not exist. For instance, mimi sipendi kufua. Kabisa, like my hands cannot do the laundry. And then you meet a guy mwenye nguo zangu haziwezi fuliwa na mtu mwingine mwenye si bibi yangu ama si mke wangu. How do you get yourself, how do you make this boundary work? That for you need your clothes catered for by your wife and your wife alone. But now for the wife, I'll do everything, but I will never do the laundry. How do you bring the boundary line and make it work, even when you're on different pages?
If you guys, that's why I say that you should have something that all of you are comfortable with, you know. And it should not be, boundary should not be in a way that it's draining another person, perhaps physically, the way you're saying it, even emotionally, you know. It should not drain me, it should not make me like, you see, like boundary should just be there.
Yeah.
It should be there, and you guys should just find you should find a common ground where all of you are comfortable with it.
Yeah, sort of what children.
Okay. To my opinion, like, yes, tutake your boundaries. Tuseme vile umesema, sipendi kufua, but wewe unataka ufuliwe. At the beginning, out of experience, nishaikuwa kwa relationship kama hiyo. Yes, I agree. Then when time goes by, ni time atakuja sema hapana. Sasa unaona wanaume wanakuanga na influence, utaenda kae mahali aseme like mwingine anza kusema bibi yangu ananifanyianga, bibi yangu ananifulia, bibi yangu. Sasa unaona atakuja na hiyo pressure, you have to do it. So then itafika mahali anataka kumfulia na uwezi na utaki, like haupendi. Kama mimi sipendi kupika, kupika hapana. Mimi kwa kupika sipendi kabisa, but hizo vitu zingine nitafanya, lakini kupika sipendi.
Hapo ndio you draw the line.
Yeah. Na unajua unamwambia, then kama ataona unamwambia ile vile atachukulia na vitu si change. Because a lot of men do change actually. Yeye atakwambia nita-agree at the first time, then akiendelea kupata mabeshte atakuja akigeuke. Aseme hapana, unafaa ufanye unafanya. Ni kama it's like a command. Na mademu wengi siku hizi wapendi kukomandia. It's not kama kitambo. Ndio kitambo ilikuwa na command mtu, but sasa hii yeah.
How can we make boundaries work for us without, venye tu umesema ati kuna boundaries zingine unazoona hii boundary lakini ina oppress ule mwingine. So when you get to that point and you realize boundary yako inafinyilia mwingine kwa ukuta ama boundary yake inakufinya kwa ukuta, how do we make it work?
Okay, you know, people set boundaries. For example, the men, we set boundaries, but we do not speak about those boundaries. Like, I'm just silent. I'm expecting someone to just do something that I've not communicated. Communication is key.
Okay.
You know, you have to communicate. For how long are you setting a boundary, and why are you setting a boundary? Yeah. So you should just communicate about boundaries and tell another person, this, I don't want this. I don't want you to be communicating to another person. I don't want you to be having that relationship with your, if it's a boy, with the ladies and all the stuff, you know. Yeah, kama ni kupika, hiyo story unasema, kama ni kupika. If I set my boundary, I came here and I told you that this relationship, for me, I just want you to be cooking for me. Like it's only you, not me, not anyone. you should be watching for me. Then if they cannot live according to that standard, I mean, according to that boundary that you put, then I don't think there's a chance of you getting on with that relationship.
Yeah. What about you? How can we make it work?
Okay, for me, umejua weakness ya partner wako, unajua like apendi kufua, apendi kucook, so unamu-encourage. Tuseme like kama umeshapendana, unajua ukipenda mtu sasa unapatanga kila kitu inakuanga perfect. Zingine mnajifundisha. Sasa kama unajua hapendi, unamfundisha, like unamfanya I love kuifanya. Like kama mnataka kupika, mnaweza enda kupika pamoja. Yani unamfunza anapenda ataanza tu mwenyewe ataanza kufanyia hizo stuff. Sasa kama mimi kwangu mimi sipendi kupika, but inafikanga point alifanya paka nikaanza kupika. Na kuna time mimi sitaki saa kupika, na yeye mwenyewe atatoka aende kitchen apike kwa sababu anajua mimi sipendi. Sasa hata kama uta walk out, usi walk out immediately. Mteach. Ukiona tu yeye amekata, unajua kuna wenye wanakatanga tu kulearn, then hapo unaweza walk out. Umetry yenyewe.
Alright. So acha tutoke kwa love ama the love aspect of a relationship. Let's get to parent-child kind of a relationship. Should there be a boundary between a parent and a child? Keeping in mind that sahi we see people mtu ako na mtoto and then mtoto wake, oh my mother is my best friend, ama my child, my daughter is my best friend, my son is my best friend. Should there really be a boundary between a parent and their child?
Of course, in every relationship there must be a boundary. You know, we talk about different types of relationship. We have the social relationship and those other kind of relationship. When you're bringing in the child, that's not the social part of it.
Yes.
And I feel like every person should know their position in the family. I mean, a child must know their position. The father must know their position, and the mother must also know their position. Yeah. So, if we all identify and we know our positions in the family, I mean, everyone will be comfortable with everything in that family. Yeah.
You now that, especially now that you're a mother, how is the boundary looking?
Okay, mimi niko na boundaries na watoto wangu. Like ikikuwa fun, acha tu have fun. But kuna time mtu anahitaji tuweke tu boundaries, like tuseme for instance me and my mom. My mom, she's my best friend and my mentor. So tunaona yes tuta have fun, tutafanya kila kitu, tucheke, tupige story, but kuna boundaries hapo between. Mi kuna extent siwezi enda, siwezi pita hapo. Sasa kuna venye tu utakuwa na make tu like fanya everything with your parent, but kama tuseme like huko nje kuna vitu wezi fanya tu mbele watu. Kama ni mama yako, ukiwa na mama yako kuna vitu tu wezi fanya. Sa we have to respect your boundaries and you have to respect it, usifai cross.
All right. Another area of boundaries, let's say in the church or in the places of worship, the church, the mosques. But I think for the Muslims, they have it all together already. Let's get to our people, the church, a Christian setting. What are some of the boundaries that you think need to be implemented while in church, while praising, worshiping, or while communicating to God? Should there be a boundary there?
Of course. You know, when you bring the aspect of religion and relationship and all the stuff, I mean, there should be boundaries. Let me put in the context of I'm in a relationship and there is this religion, this and it. You know, it's not bad having subscribing to these denominations. Yes, I feel like my partner. You know, when it comes to timing, you find in situations whereby people, some men, for example, we feel like time is consuming, like church is consuming a lot of time, and to women, you find that they're so dedicated into church. You see, so if I'm a man, I'm in that relationship. You know, you have to, like I said, you have to communicate and say that no, if you're going to church, let's do 7 hours of church every day. You know, sometimes you find people go to church up to evening. It depends with the relationship that you have with God. You see, so if I don't like that kind, then I'll have to communicate. Yeah, but religion is important, but we should not put it in a way that it consumes a lot of our time.
Okay, as for me, about church, okay, me spend the church. Me kama boys. Me church hapana. Me more than 2 hours I siwezi kaa church. Ikipita 2 hours hapana. But my husband anapenda church. Yeye anapenda mtu wa church 24/7. Hata anaweza tu kaa church. But kuna kuanga na boundaries. We kama unaenda church, enda to this hivi like masaa. Setu pia mimi unataka tu ukitaka kukaa paka jioni, sasa pia si tuende pia mimi nikae tu paka jioni. Pia hiyo siwezi. Mimi nimeza 2 hours church. Nimalize nitoke na niende kwa nyumba. But mimi huwezi niforce nikae church paka jioni.
By the way, religion rules a lot of relationship because of that. Because other people might feel that you take a long time in churches. Because women, it's something that I'm associating it with women because following the statistic, women are so many in church compared to men. It's a thing, that's a fact. So we should just have boundaries.
All right. Can you give examples of healthy boundaries and unhealthy boundaries? Boundaries that help the relationship and boundaries that destroy the relationship?
First, if we talk about healthy boundaries, like I said, the first key thing in the boundaries is to communicate them.
Awesome.
Yeah, why and when, like how long are we going to take it? You see, so healthy boundaries, we should just have, how can I put it? If I say you should not be communicating to your, if you are in a relationship and you are committed, I'm not saying cut on communication in your relationships, but there are things that you should do. If I have an ex, an ex-girlfriend, then I don't text my wife or my girlfriend, and I should not expect me to be communicating to them in a way. You know, when you bring up the aspect of emotional kind of boundaries, yes, perhaps we've broken up in a different way, and I feel you might feel the other person, but does not mean that you have to be in their shoes. You know, like okay, we broke up. Yes, I still have the feeling, but I don't have to date you. You know, I'm just emotionally there to support you. So I think as an healthy way, you should try to not to cut such kind of communication. Again, stop comparing your relationship. You know, today the social media thing, they go to the social media and especially as the current generation, go to social media, compare how those people live. Then I want such kind of relationships to be brought into mine. Because like women today, they expect 10 men inside 1 man. Yeah, so it is really challenging. I think we should, that's a kind of unhealthy, we should not compare, you know, we should just communicate it clearly, what we need, and then things will move on well.
Awesome, amazing. Yes.
Okay, vile amesema ni right. But me, like for example, yes, huyo partner wako hataki uongee like na men, but wewe ni mtu, unajua nasema example na mimi tu. Mimi spendi dames kwa sababu madam nitaongelea kitu sahi tena utaenda kuisikia mahali. So mna preferanga kukaa na maboy. So mimi mabishte zangu most tu ni boys. Sasa mimi hakuna venye utakuja uniambie kwa sababu mamangu my parents wanajua tu mabishte zangu ni boy. Sasa kuja kuniambia tu fake kuongea na boy, fake kufanya nini? Unajua hiyo like unani command. So mimi nitakwambia yes, wewe ni partner wangu ama wewe ni bwana wangu. Si ndio? But unafaa ujue mimi napenda tu kukaa na maboy. Story mingi tutapiga na maboy. Hata kwa contact zangu most zinakuanga maboy. Na hakuna pali like kama kuna relationship beyond that hakuna. So kama unajua mimi napenda inaitwa nini? Napenda kuongea na maboy, mabishte zangu na maboy. You can't force me niache kuongea nao because uko kwa life yangu. Hiyo iwezi. Mumili nipata tu tukiwa mabeshte na so ukuja tuanze kuniambia ati you have to stop, you have to do this and this. Mimi wezi ni force. Wewe have to unafaa ukubali tu. Kwa sababu pia mimi siwezi kuja kuambia ati wewe usiongeleshe mabeshte zako wale, sijui usiongee na nani, usiongee na nani, siwezi. Sasa wewe ulinipata hivyo, you have to learn how to live with it. Kwa sababu mimi hakuna na nitakuintroduce by the way. Niseme huyu ni husband wangu, ni like pia wata create boundaries, kwa sababu unajua hata ukiwa na mabeshte ukifika kwa point ya kwa nyumba yako unakuanga bado na boundaries zako. Sasa hawezi cross. Sasa like vile umesema at your left just stop this and this.
No, not really. You know, to women sometimes it feels like controlling.
Yeah.
It's not controlling, and setting boundaries is not actually it's not a personal attack. You know, it's not, we are not controlling. You know, we just set this for an healthy relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I want. Why don't you live with that?
So like women can
I'm not saying you don't have to cut all kind of, but there is such kind of communication that you feel it's a threat to your relationship. Then if you feel like it's a threat, my friend, that's a red flag. Run away.
No. Okay, like nona mi niko na mabeshte, like mabeshte zangu, most of them ni watu wanavutanga bangi, wanafanya hizo stuff. So unajaribu pia ku educate, kwa sababu but mimi nafanya by the way na dreams na wa empower. So si ati ni must need to empower girls, even men, you can talk to them and they can change. So mimi napendanga kukana wao, but Kenya wao wanafanya mimi siwezi fanya. So mimi nikikuja nikwambia au ni mabeshte zangu, hakuna venye unaweza kuja kunitoa hapa hadi hapa. So mimi sitafuata Kenya wao unataka. What about what I want?
Anyway, all is about protecting me. I mean, yeah.
So not about what I want. Mimi sina shida. Like ukiniambia like nona ukiwa na mbeshte lefu niambie kwenye huyu boy mnaongeanga naye ama kwenye mnashinanga naye ainibambi, nitaanza ku cut off. But like uniambia ati usikue mabeshte nao, ayo hapana. But ukiniambia shida iko hapa na hapa na hapa, mbona mnapendanga kuongea naye sana, mna spend time naye sana, nitaanza ku cut off, kwa sababu najua inaumiza, na most men wanakuanga very jealous. So unajua na kwa umeongea na boy, mlikuwa mnasema nini, mlikuwa mnafanya nini? But mimi naongeanga like kama mabeshte zangu tutakuwa very open, nakwambia tunaongea hivi na hivi na hivi, hakuna kitu kingine. Na kama imekuboa niambie tu imenibo, nitaanza ku cut off. Lakini ukiniambia ati sijui siku na beshte na wewe, mzee yake.
So where does the rubber meet the road? Where do we draw the line between a sacrifice and a sacrifice and no, this is a no? Because at the end of the day, this is a relationship. These are two people who do not know each other. They were not they didn't grow up the same place, so they will definitely have different views, different opinions, different stands. So to when do you know I will sacrifice this one for the person I love, and when do you say I love you but not that much? And when do you know how to draw that line?
I mean, like I just said, having boundaries does not mean rejection. And I don't have to sacrifice my all because I want us to work out. But why do we set boundaries in a relationship? We set boundary relationship because we want a long-term thing. You know, if we were just come and do our thing and get apart, it's a different thing. So if we set it for a long term, then I think if the person does not live according to the standards that you want, then it's not going to be an healthy relationship. You know, you just have to set common ground for all of you to something that is comfortable for all of you to navigate through the relationship thing. Yeah.
Okay, what about you?
Okay, about me, like unaweza kuwa tuna mtu like unaweza msacrifice by the way. Mimi ikifika point ya niko na friend, then your friend anajaribu kumuonyesha mimi niko kwa life ya Lois sana kukushinda, wewe umekuja tu juzi, there is no way. Hapo hivyo itabidi ni sacrifice your friend, ni cut off because of you. Kwa sababu mimi nimekuja nikakwambia huyu ni mtu wangu, sasa mbona unakuja kujaribu kumuonyesha like wewe ndio ulikuwa hapo from the beginning? So I have to sacrifice, mimi nitakucut off kwa sababu yake. Hapo hivyo hata kama nitaka boundaries, but I have to sacrifice that kwa sababu hiyo ni kushow I'm respect. Mimi na respect kushinda like beshte yangu. Yes, ni beshte yangu, but ikifika hapo I will choose him over my friend. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Okay, so lastly, maybe the last question I'll ask before we can call it a close is, we have heard of people who have
done the unimaginable for their loved ones. We have had people who have literally killed themselves because of their loved ones. Is this going overboard, or is this a sign of no boundaries? Start with you.
Atujua kusabia mtu mimi siwezi fanya. Okay, kuna wenye wanakwanga wakipenda Yesu wamependa na kila kitu yao, so inafika time mtu anaweza muacha then decide hiyo, but kwangi ile mtu ameset. Kuna watu wanapitianga a lot depression, hiyo anaweza achwa, yes, maybe hakuwa ready, maybe alikuwa anatarajia watagofa, so depression inamua, si ata commit suicide because of sijui boy alimwacha. Na depression akona a lot of question, amekuwa depressed. Sasa hiyo kitu inalitu kwenda kujiua. Mimi pia mbele nilifika point kama hiyo, nilikuwa na ball, sasa huyo mtu amekureject kwanza mbele ya mamako, yani hiyo na mbele ya mamako na babako amekataa kabisa. So ilifika point ya nilifika hiyo time ya afadhali ndio niende nijiue, niishie tu hapo. But ilikuja ikafika like unaona, ukijipenda wewe mwenyewe first, hata kama unataka kuingia kwa relationship, love yourself. Ukijipenda wewe mwenyewe, hiyo kitu itakusaidia. Mimi nilikuja nikajiuliza huyo mtu wako worth it nijiue kwa sababu ya hiyo? Ni nini yenye anaweza nisaidia? Kwa sababu siwezi jua kwa sababu ya mwanaume. So like huyo mtu ni kwanza alikuwa anakuadia kwa life yako, ni value gani alikuadia ndio unapaka to the point ya unaenda kujiua. So ukijipenda sioni kama unaweza jimada. Sioni kabisa.
Okay, I feel like we have one problem. I mean, currently the current has the generation, the society. Setting. I know that setting boundaries is very difficult, and when it comes to saying no and saying yes is very. I mean, when it comes to saying no, it's very difficult. Saying yes is very easy. Yeah. So such cases of someone committing suicide is a matter of not taking the no. Like, I want you to live according to this standard. Then to another person it feels like rejection, and then they get into depression, and then it leads to that.
Okay, let's learn to take the no's for what they are and not for anything else. All right, finally, anything you'd love to share with us as we conclude?
Okay, for me, kuna kitu niliambiwanga, okay, na place naendanga Bible study. Unajua mademo wanatafutanga God fearing, caring. So mimi niliambiwa don't look for a God fearing man, look for a loving man, kwa sababu hata shetani mwenyewe by then God fearing. So look mwenye mtu mwenye anapenda God, hapo hivyo mtaenda far. Na ukija mwambie iko hivi na hivi, like mimi sipendi hii, sitaki hii, hapo hivyo mtakuwa at least mmeset boundaries na mtaenda poa, kila kitu itaflow tu poa. Lakini kama mjakaa chini kwanza mdiscuss before mwingie kwa relationship, hapo hivyo hakuna kitu itafanyika, kwa sababu sasa hiyo mtu yapendi hii. Tuseme like ni kama sasa hivi kuja niambie mimi sipendi kula omena, alafu nataka uniforce nikule. Hapana. So you have to before uingie kwa relationship umwambie tu like mimi sipendi hii, sitaki hii, kitu ni bambangi, hii ndio kenye napenda hivi na hivi. Then yakwambie zake. Hapo hivyo at least mtaenda tu vizuri, kwa sababu unajua kenye anapenda, kenye apendi. Yeah.
Yes.
The last thing I'll tell people outside there, the young generation, do not hesitate to make boundaries when you need them. You don't have to prove a point. You see? Yeah, to prove that I need you to love me. Again, learn your position in the relationship so you don't overplay your part in that relationship. That will actually save you from a lot of things. It will save you from disappointment, will save you from heartache and character development. Yeah, so just know your space. Yeah.
Know your space. Thank you very much, guys. This is an amazing discussion. Sadly, we've come to the end of today's show. Thank you very much, Liz. Thank you very much, Vincent. I do hope to meet you again soon. You can continue this conversation. Feel free to continue the conversation online. Tell us about boundaries. What boundaries have you maintained? What boundaries have you kept? What boundaries
are in your life right now that help you navigate in your various relationships on EBN TV across all our social media platforms. My name is Consolata Chibaloza. Thank you very much for having me and for having us in your homesteads. Until next time, God bless.